The Hemisync. The Hemisync is a trademark name representing the hemispheric synchronization. Hemispheric meaning the two halves of the brain. As a matter of fact, if you take a human brain and you slice it open and you look at it from the side view, you're going to see the Eye of Horus, which is the logo for forbidden knowledge, right? So it's the Hemisync. They knew about this in ancient times. This is nothing new. It's an audio technology developed by the Monroe Institute based on the use of binaural beats to enhance cognitive abilities and promote specific states of consciousness. So Robert Monroe, the founder of TMI, pioneered research in the field of altered states of consciousness and developed the Hemisync technology to aid in achieving these states. He's talking about states of consciousness, different levels. So your brain and binaural beats, how does it work? So the beats that I create are set up this exact way. Your brain interprets two tones. Okay, one tone is just slightly different than the other. One tone is shorter and has a very short wavelength, and the other tone has a longer wavelength. So your brain is going to interpret these two tones as a beat of its own. The two tones align with your brain waves to produce a beat with a different frequency. So what's happening here is your mind has waves, your brain has waves that literally emanate as light waves out of your skull. You've heard me talk about this many, many times, and it's real science. Obviously now you can see it's real science because this is done at a brain institute. And so now as your waves of your brain are leaving out, but also your ears are taking in the frequency from these beats, it's doing something. It's creating this incredible entanglement of frequencies with your brain waves and the actual frequency of the music. This frequency is the difference in hertz between the frequencies of the two tones. For example, if you're listening to a 440 hertz tone from your left ear and a 444 hertz tone from your right ear, you would be hearing a 4 hertz tone. Do you see how it cancels out some of the frequencies? When you listen to binaural beats, your brain activity matches the frequency set by the frequency of the beat. This is called the frequency following effect. So we mirror. It's the mirroring neurons taking over, okay? This means you can use binaural beats to entrain your mind to reach a certain mental state. They discovered this in real laboratories. And that's why the CIA said, we gotta look into this because this is pretty interesting. In order to describe the Monroe Institute technique for achieving altered states of consciousness, the gateway experience, involving brain hemisphere synchronization or Hemisync, the most effective way to begin is to briefly profile the basic mechanics which underlie operation of related methods such as hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and biofeedback. It is easiest to effectively describe what gateway is by beginning with a short description of those associated techniques that share some common aspect with the gateway experience, but which are nevertheless different. In this way, we can develop a frame of reference at the outset, which will provide useful concepts to explain and understand the gateway by comparison as we proceed. Now remember, this is a CIA, at one time, classified document. Hypnosis. According to the theories of psychologist Ronald Stone and the biomedical engineering models of Ishak Bentov, hypnosis is basically a technique which permits acquisition of direct access to the sensory motor cortex and pleasure centers and lower cerebral, which is the emotional section or portions, and associated pleasure centers of the right side of the main brain following successful disengagement of the hemisphere of the brain. It is self-cognitive, verbal and linear reasoning, and component of mind. It fulfills the function of screening incoming stimuli by categorizing, assessing, and assigning meaning prior to allowing the passage to the non-critical, holistic, non-verbal, and pattern-oriented component of the brain. So they figured out that hypnosis is not fake, that hypnosis is actually a real thing, and that you can be hypnotized, but not only hypnotized. As you're going to read this, it's by several different methods you can be hypnotized, which led them to understand a little bit more about the Hemisync frequencies, because the frequencies seem to have been doing the same exact thing. Let me just go down here to Transcendental Meditation. On the other hand, Transcendental Meditation works in a distinctly different fashion. In this technique, intense and protracted single-minded concentration on the process of drawing energy up the spinal cord, now we're talking about a Kundalini awakening, ultimately results in what appears to be creation of acoustical standing waves in the cerebral ventricles, which are then conducted to the gray matter in the cerebral, probably hemispheres is what the next word would be, cortex, cerebral cortex on the right side of the brain. As a result, according to Bentov, these waves will stimulate and eventually polarize the cortex in such a way that it will tend to conduct a signal along the homunculus, starting from the toes on up. So we're talking about moving energy all the way from the toes, all the way up into the spinal cord, and moving that energy up into the base of the brain, and eventually up into the actual pineal gland, into your crown chakra. You see, they know about this stuff. So let's look into the power of the multiverse now and understand what is the multiverse. Cosmological universe. There's several theories of the multiverse. All right, there's several theories of a multiverse. Some go back into ancient times. The cosmological multiverse. This is based on the theory that basically cosmic inflation, which suggests that different regions of space-time expanded at different rates in the early universe, and this can result in bubble universes. And this, we're talking about the fact that we're living in a vast sea of bubbles, and each bubble is an actual universe in itself, okay? And I personally believe that for sure that's happening. And I think that when these bubbles bump into each other, you get black holes and white holes also, which send energy into other universes as well. Within a greater cosmic expanse, each of these bubbles could have different properties representing individual universes within the multiverse. Then we have the many worlds interpretation. Basically, this is like coming from theoretical physicists like Michio Kaku and who else? Neil deGrasse Tyson, and these other quantum physicists and theoretical physicists. The MWI proposes that every quantum event results in a branching or splitting of the universe. For every possible outcome of a quantum measurement, there exists a branch where that outcome actually occurs. This leads to an unimaginably large, ever-expanding multiverse of universes where every quantum possibility plays out. Again, I believe in this as well. So we're talking about the fact that anything you believe can happen, not only is it not only can it happen, but it will happen and is happening simultaneously throughout the entire multiverse. In one multiverse, I'm not sitting here talking to you guys. I may not even be a thought leader. I might be on a boat, sailing the ocean, wherever that is. I might be painting a house. I might be playing with my kids. So basically what it's saying is every outcome that potentially could exist actually does exist. It's called a superposition. And when things are in superposition, we're talking about potential outcomes, okay? Potential outcomes. So every potential outcome actually exists in real time, instantaneously throughout the entire multiverse. And then we're also talking about parallel universes or higher dimensions, derived from string theory or M theory. This version posits that our universe exists on a three-dimensional brain. Brain, not the brain like this, but a brain meaning a membrane, an energy grid, an invisible energy grid, where a lot of the dark matter is located, within a higher dimensional space. Other three-dimensional brains could exist in this space representing other universes. Interactions or collisions between these brains could lead to events like a Big Bang, okay? So another incredible theory that I believe is real as well. Then we have the simulated universes. This is more of a philosophical proposition, people say, but I believe it's solid, suggesting that if it's possible to create a simulated universe like the ones that these kids did at this college, this university, these 15 kids created a video game called No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is one DVD disc, goes into a game box, comes up on your screen on your TV, and instantly you have access to 80 quadrillion planets. 80 quadrillion planets. Unlimited numbers of life forms exist on these planets, and the game never ends. They created an entire universe on one DVD. Well, what's the Big Bang? When they turn the power switch on, is that the Big Bang? Right? And what if they inject AI and consciousness into that video software? Will the beings and the animals and the people in there become conscious? I believe so. Will they begin to ask who are their creators and where they come from and how this universe come to be? I believe so. And so we're now in a position of creating simulated universes ourselves, which is why I believe in it wholeheartedly. And then parallel universes with different physical constants. This concept posits universes where fundamental constants of nature, like the gravitational constant, have different values, such as universes might have radically different physics and could be uninhabitable, or they might give rise to entirely different forms of complexity of life. I believe that as well. So what am I saying is I'm saying that I think all of these are real. I think they all actually exist. I believe that all of it exists. All those particular potentials exist because I believe in superposition. So not only do I exist in every way, shape, or form throughout all the multiverse, doing many different things, but I also believe that universes have the same probability. And so we're talking about as above, so below. We are just a fractal of the whole. And so the universe is also a fractal of the whole. And if all these different possibilities can play out for a human being, I believe they can play out for a universe, because universes are also what? Conscious. The universe is like a giant cell in your body, right? It's like we're living inside of a cell, a living conscious entity. But we're going to go into the Emerald Tablets. What you're looking at here on the screen right now is words from Thoth the Atlantean, okay? You're looking at words from Thoth the Atlantean priest king who ruled over the land of Kemet for 16,000 years. So the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians had discovered, or the Kemetic people had discovered from this guy Thoth, how to harness the electromagnetic frequency coming and whipping out of the Earth's core, as well as accessing cymatic frequencies and harnessing both of those things together, along with magnetized crystal granite. They became masters at it. And what they've done is they built incredible works of art that you think are just art, but they're living beings. These statues, I went and saw the Ramesseum statue for the first time. I actually got a chance to see it and touch it. It's a 1,000 ton crystal granite magnetized statue at the Ramesseum, right? Not a museum, but the Ramesseum. That's the name of the actual statue and the name of the temple where it's located. It's so megalithic that I look like an ant compared to it, and I'm 6'4", 220 pounds. What's so amazing about this, that location where that temple is located and where that statue is located is a huge magnetic vortex whipping out of the earth, according to usgs.gov. And what's inside that gigantic statue? It's 1,000 tons total weight of magnetized crystal granite. So that means that about approximately 450 tons of that statue is crystal. Now, why is that important? Why is that so important? It's important because crystal is a sentient living being. Crystal has the capability of communication. We know that because we use crystals for communication. Crystal set radios, some of the very first radios, crystal communications. They can transmit and receive information. Crystals can store information. A human being can do both of those. Crystals can replicate themselves. Human beings can do that. Crystals can grow. Oh, human beings can do that as well. They have the capability of transmuting energy. Human beings can do that, even though we think we can't. Crystals are alive, and they add a technological, spiritual aspect to whatever they're inside of or wherever they are. And so these ancient people would build these megalithic magnetized crystal statues because from their perspective, they were giving the statue life. They didn't see them as statues. They didn't see them as inanimate objects, I should say. They saw them as sentient living beings. They saw them as they were alive, okay? Powerful stuff. And when you go there, you can feel the energy. Now, Thoth talks about these frequencies, and he talks about these magnetic fields and everything else in the Emerald Tablets. We took them to this place behind the Temple of Seti. There's the Osirian. We descended down into the Osirian, where they have the flower of life atomically etched into stone columns. And It's incredible because the Osirian is approximately probably 80 to 100,000 years old. That's how old that place is. It's 80 to 100,000 years old. And it's the ancient temple of Osiris. And when you look at it, you realize you're looking at a power plant, an ancient power plant. Nothing more, nothing less. But inside of the Osirian, there's a hallway. This hallway leads to an area where there's some ancient text. This ancient text is talking about the duat. The duat that Thoth talks about in where? In the Emerald Tablets. It's etched into the walls in Kemet at the Osirian. And in the duat, he's talking about that's the access point to the higher dimensions. And in this writing, it talks about the frequencies. The same exact frequencies that I just read to you in the CIA document. Why are they inside the Osirian temple? Why? Because they knew all about this. And through these frequencies, the duat is the access point to get into the portal to get to higher dimensions. Now ye assemble, my children, waiting to hear the secret of secrets, which shall give ye power to unfold the God-man. Give ye the way to eternal life. He's talking about accessing portals here. If I went back a little bit than this, to access and understand how to get access to eternal life. How do they get eternal life? How do they get access to it? In the physical form? By transferring into higher dimensions and even transferring from body to body, okay? That's what they do. He says here, plainly shall I seek of the unveiled mysteries. No dark saying shall I give unto thee. In other words, I'm gonna speak plain with you. Open thine ears now, my children. Hear and obey the words that I give. First I shall speak of the fetters of darkness, which bind ye in chains to the sphere of the earth. Oh man, he's talking about what is locking us spiritually, our spiritual energy, what keeps it locked into recycling back on this planet. It's a fetter of darkness. He says darkness and light are both of one nature, different only in seeming. Now listen, the Bible says that as well, okay? What does God say in the Bible? He says in Isaiah, God says, I create the good and I create the evil. Doeth I, saith the Lord. He didn't say the devil was evil. He didn't say Satan was evil and bad. He said he's evil and he's good. He said, I create the darkness and the light. You see? Darkness and light are both of one nature, different only in seeming. That's powerful. Different only in seeming. For each arose from the source of all. Oh, that sounds like what it says in Isaiah. I think they read this and copied it into the biblical text and just reworded it a little bit. They used the biblical chat GPT and changed it around a little bit. This is the same exact thing that God says in Isaiah. Darkness and light are both of the one nature, different only in seeming. For each arose from the source of all. Darkness is disorder, light is order. Darkness transmuted is light of the light. And this, my children, is your purpose in being. Transmutation of darkness to light. We've been given a decree here, okay? We've been given a decree. And what is that decree? What is the mission? The mission is clearly spelled out to us. The mission is to transmute, to alchemically transmute darkness to light. That's the mission. If you say, what's my purpose? I don't know what my purpose is. And I just can't seem to find out why I'm here. And why am I in this? Why am I on this, in this third density? Why am I on this planet? Why am I me? And what's my purpose supposed to be here? I don't know who I am. I don't know what's going on here. I literally just answered your life's long question. This, my children, your purpose in being, transmutation of darkness to light. That is it. There's nothing else. That's your mission. Learning how to transmute darkness to light. Light is powerful. Light is the most powerful thing in the universe. Light can transcend millions of light years of space, of distance, right? When you look up at the night sky and you see a star That star could be 10 million light years away. But the light from that star said, we don't care, we're traveling. Those photons took 10 million years to hit your retina. Now, what's interesting about light and dark, and to show you how powerful light is over darkness, because some people are like, this world is so dark, this world is tearing me up, and I can't do this no more, and everybody's so evil, and everybody's so mean, and it's just so, the politicians, and I call them the poly tricksters, and all. Listen to me. At the end of the day, even though we bicker and complain about what is going on, at the end of the day, it's the best time to be alive. That's number one. When you fall too deep into the dark side, the negativity, it will consume you. Just like in the movie Star Wars, right? You have Darth Vader's son. He allowed the darkness to consume him. Even though he had the light in him, the darkness consumed him because he only focused on the darkness. You can't stick to the dark. The darkness will rob you. This is the only power it has. It will steal your God power from you. It will suck it right out of your body. It will suck it from your spirit. It will suck it right from the higher dimension and take it. Only because you have beamed the focus directly into darkness. You've created a highway for it to transcend it and suck the life right out of you, the light right out of you. You've allowed it. Now, let's flip the script on that. Understanding, like you've heard me say before, I'm in a well-lit room. This room is pretty well lit. Right? I got a light above me. I got two of these, photography lights on me. I'm pretty well lit. But guess what? There's no amount of darkness that I can inject into this room to make the room dark. I can only turn the lights off, but I can't inject darkness actively into a lit room. I can't, okay, my screen on my phone is dark right now. But that's not gonna allow me to create darkness in here. However, if I turn the lights off in this room, completely off, and I do something as simple as go into my phone and turn on my flashlight mode. As soon as I turn the flashlight on and this room is completely dark, the darkness is going to run away from my light. It's gonna flee. It's going to run instantly, proving that light can overpower darkness. So we get fooled into thinking that darkness has power over us and that darkness has power over the world. When in true reality, it's only the power that we give it by focusing on it and transmuting into it and falling into it. But not by understanding that we see it. We acknowledge the darkness. We acknowledge it's there. We analyze it, we discern it. We figure out what its agenda is for wherever it may be coming from. But at the same time, we understand our mission is to alchemically transmute that. That's our mission. How do I turn that into light? How do I fix this problem? How do I come up with a solution for this that alchemically transfers this into something totally different? How do I connect with enough people on the same frequency, on the light wave heart love 528 hertz frequency, to help change the consciousness in those that may be operating even in darkness? How do I go into the darkness to bring darkness to light? That's why on the front of the book cover, you see Thoth the Atlantean. He's got the head of the ibis bird with that long beak. Now, he didn't look like a bird in real life. He had the face of a man. However, the ibis bird is a metaphor. I have ibis birds in my backyard. Every day there's about 40 or 50 ibis birds laying right in my backyard and start eating. They stick their beaks deep down into the mud, to the wet soil underneath the grass, all the way to the point where their head is almost in the ground. And then they get the food and bring it up. So it's a metaphor for bringing darkness to light, from bringing sustenance up out of the darkness. That's why you always see Thoth depicted with the head of an ibis bird. Okay? That's why. And so our mission is to bring darkness to light. When you look at the sages of old, Gandhi, Yeshua, aka Jesus, Horus, and many others, you'll find when you read about them that they've gone and hung out with what we call regular people. They've gone and hung out with criminals. They've gone and hung out with prostitutes. They've gone to bars and got drunk in ancient times, right? What are they doing? Why are they around these people? You have to go where the people are dark and bring the darkness to light. And there's many ways to do that. People say, man, why you gotta go live inside of your Rolls Royce? We don't want to know you got a Rolls Royce. I'm not going live for you, brother, sister. I'm going live till I can reel somebody in who doesn't know who the hell I am. I understand how to cast a reel and put bait on the hook. You see? People like to see nice things, and they like to see things that look successful or appear to be successful. So I showcase my success because that attracts more people to me, and then they get the knowledge. And then I got them, and I just reel them in. I reel them in. Take them, I put them in this bucket right over here, okay? Now stay there and continue to learn from me. Just learn. Just stay right there. You learn. Now they're asking questions and everything else. You see? You have to understand, that's alchemy. What I do with everybody has a different way of doing it. For me, I utilize lifestyle as for alchemy. My lifestyle attracts a lot of people that would never in 100 trillion years consider to talk about Anunnaki, chakras, spirituality, kundalinis, Hemisync meditations and all. They don't want to hear that stuff. But all of a sudden, I caught their eye. They don't know that I'm entrapping them. I'm just reeling them in. Boom. I got so many buckets full of people behind me right now. You have no idea. Millions of people I got in buckets behind me that I done reeled in. Now, guess what? These people are forbidden family. And guess what? A lot of those people are people with means, financial means. A lot of them. Some of them don't have financial means, but now they're learning how to acquire a better lifestyle for themselves. They're aspiring to become better with their families and their children and their spouses and everything else because I reeled them in. That's alchemy. And everybody needs to find their own specific way that works for them. You see? That's what the mission is. Hear ye now of the mystery of nature, the relations of life to earth where it dwells. Know ye are threefold in nature, physical, astral, and mental. Oh my God, that's what it says in the damn CIA document. It says the same exact thing. I think they read the Emerald Tablets first. I think that doctor who created the Hemisync, or I say rediscovered the Hemisync, read these Emerald Tablets. Because if you read that whole document, guess what it says? It literally says, where human beings are physical, astral, and mental in one. It says the same exact phrase. 3 are the qualities of each of the natures, 9 in all, as above, so below. Now we're talking Hermetic principles, or really they're ancient Kemetic principles, as above, so below. 3 are the qualities of one of the natures, 9 in all, as above, so below. And out of that 9, and out of these 3, you can get 369, by the way, which is Nikola Tesla's secret of the universe. In the physical are these channels, the blood which moves in a vertical motion, reacting on the heart to continue its beating. Now they knew 38,000 years ago that the blood is moving in a vertical motion through the body. That's incredible. Magnetism, which moves through the nerve paths, carrier of energies to cells and tissues. Now, how did they know that magnetism is what's moving through the nervous system? Electromagnetism, EMFs. We produce that inside of our body so we can transmit information to our limbs to move our muscles and tell our body what to do. So I can move my mouth and speak to you right now. How did they know about the magnetic field unless they had a way to measure it? And then the Akasha, which flows through channels, subtle yet physical, completing the channels, the Akasha. We're talking about the energetic field. Now we're talking about, if you want to relate this ancient term to what we just read in the Hemisync, or in the information about the multi-world or the multiverse, we're talking about now membrane theory. When you're talking about the Akasha, you're talking about membrane theory. And on that membrane, energetically, everything exists. All information exists. Every thought that you've ever thought about, it's left your skull and it's embedded into this membrane, which is also the Akasha. When people say we can access the Akashic records, or some people say they can read the Akashic records, I can't laugh at them because I know the Akashic records are real. It's also known in the Bible and also in the Emerald Tablets, which originally was stated. It's called the Book of Life. As Thoth calls it, the Book of Life. And why is it the Book of Life? At first, when I was younger, I said, this is ridiculous, the Book of Life. There's nobody got no book with everything inside of it. Until I started studying quantum physics and I realized that every thought from your very first thought exists in this energetic grid permanently. It never leaves. Energy can't be destroyed, it can only be transformed. And the thought wave carries encoded, embedded on top of it, data. That data is the conscious intent of what that thought was about. Scientists in Japan just invented a new machine, this came out a week ago, that can actually replay your dreams in sequence. Now, this machine is not connected to your brain in terms of it being a surgery. You're just laying down and going to sleep. This thing is recording your dreams by scanning the light waves and then recreates these dreams in full color for you to watch in the same sequence that they actually happened. Now we're getting into Minority Report movies, talking about future crime and things like that. Each of these three attune with each other, each affecting the life of the body. Form they the skeletal framework for which the subtle ether flows. The ether is flowing through this. In their mastery lies the secret of life in the body, relinquished only by will of the adept, when his purpose in living is done. Relinquished only by will. Do you understand what that means? That means I only give up my life when I'm ready to give up my life. I only leave this corporeal body when I'm ready. I incarnate at will. Thoth says in the Emerald Tablets, he incarnates on and in the plane he desires. That means he incarnates on what he wants to. On and in means in the third or even in a different plane, which is another dimension of existence. He can transfer to another level because he's adept. He's an adept initiate in the mysteries. Three are the natures of the astral. Mediator is between above and below, not of the physical, not of the spiritual, but able to move above and below. Three are the natures of mind, carrier of will, the great one, arbitrator of cause and effect. We're talking about Hermetic principles now in thy life. Thus is formed threefold being, directed from above by the power of four. When we're talking about the power of cause and effect, we're talking about understanding how to consciously create decisions and act on decisions, understanding that there's going to be a consequence for each decision you make and how you focus it. If you think about life, every decision you make is going to have a consequence, whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence. There will be a consequence for every single decision. That's cause and effect. Consciously, there's a way to you have the same effect in the spiritual realm as well. Four is its qualities, shining in each of the planes of existence. But 13 and 1, the mystical number, based on the qualities of man, are the brothers. Each shall direct unfoldment of being, each shall channel and be the great one. We're getting into how to access these frequencies now. On Earth, man is in bondage, bound by space-time to the Earth plane. Encircling each planet, a wave of vibration binds him. So people who say, well, is this a prison planet? According to this text, yes. According to this text, we're in bondage here. Well, most of us, not everybody. Some are adept initiates. On Earth, man is in bondage, bound by space and time to the Earth plane. Encircling each planet is a wave of vibration that binds him to this plane of unfoldment. Yet within man is the key to releasement. Within man may freedom be found. The freedom is already inside of us. The ability to unlock ourselves, to free ourselves from this bondage, from this frequency bondage, is hidden within us. When you have released the self from the body, rise to the outmost bounds of your earth plane, this astral projection, or when you get this mind outside of body experience, you're going to get to something called a duat. But you can't pass through, you can't leave the earth plane, you can't get through unless you know this frequency. Okay? Speak ye the word. Now, this word is not a word or a real name. It's a frequency. It's a cymatic frequency created by the vocal box in your side of your throat. Dori Lila. Okay? Dori Lila. This is the actual frequency. Believe it or not, this is the frequency. This frequency has a capability of giving you access to the duat, which Thoth talks about in the Emerald Tablets. You have to speak it with force and energy. Then for a time, your light will be lifted. Now, this Dori Lila gives you the ability to leave through the duat, but it doesn't give you unlimited access to higher dimensions, according to the text. For a time, your light will be lifted. Free may ye pass the barriers of space. For a time of half of the sun, talking about 6 hours, free may ye pass the barriers of earth plane. See and know those who are beyond thee. Yea, to the highest worlds may ye pass. See your own possible heights of unfoldment. Know all earthly futures of soul. Oh, we're talking about going into the multiverse. You see, they're talking about this in ancient times. This text is 36 to 38,000 years old. Okay? Dori Lila, D-O-R-E-L-I-L-L-A, Dori Lila. Okay? But that is the frequency that gives you temporary access to the multiverse, so that you may actually go and find even your doppelganger, find yourself and know your futures of soul, your futures, plural, your futures of soul. Pretty interesting that this is inside the tablet that was forbidden for quite some time. This is one of the forbidden tablets that were not released to the world for a very long time. This tablet was forbidden because they said that it was so deep and so impactful. It was so far-reaching in its import that it was forbidden to release it to the world at large. And finally they came out, I don't know, about 4 years ago. And for the first time, it took me the full 4 years to go through these tablets to be able to really dig and figure out exactly what the hell they were talking about in these last two tablets. This is just the last one. This is number 15 right here. All right. I'm going to make a supplement to my compendium book because of this new information. It perfectly synchronizes with the Hemisync information, the multiverse meditation. Bound ye are in your body, but by the power ye may be free. This is the secret whereby bondage shall be replaced by freedom for thee. Calm, let thy mind be. At rest be thy body. Conscious only of freedom from flesh. Center thy being on the goal of thy longing. Oh, center thy being on the goal of thy longing. This is where you want to go. Think over and over that thou wouldst be free. Think of this word. Now this is, again, it's not a word, it's a frequency. La il genuver. La il genuver. La il genuver. And over in thy mind, let it sound. Now, this particular frequency is going to give you the capability of astral projecting. Drift with the sound to the place of thy longing, free from the bondage of flesh by thy will. Hear ye, while I give the greatest of secrets, how ye may enter the halls of Amenti. Enter the place of the immortals as I did. Stand before the lords in their places. Lie down in rest of thy body. Calm thy mind so no thought disturbs thee. Pure must be in mind and in purpose, else only failure will come unto thee. He's giving you the secrets right here. And all these exact procedures are the same procedures in the Hemisync document. Read that whole document, you'll find these are the same recommendations. Vision Amenti as I have told in my tablets. Long with the fullness of heart to be there. Stand before the lords in thy mind's eye. Pronounce these words of power I give mentally. Now he's saying this is a mental frequency. So this is going to create a brainwave state The process leading up to this is creating this brainwave state. You're getting your body ready, you're getting your mind ready, you're focusing a beam of energy on where you want to be, right? You're saying this other cymatic frequency, which is creating a brainwave state, and now you're going to mentally sharpen your focus on this long word. Mikut el Shab el Hale Shurben el Zerbat Zin Ephraim Karel. Now, I know I've been saying this for a very long time, so obviously that's I've been able to do it. but this is a mental phrase, okay? This is a mental phrase. This particular phrase you don't speak out loud. This is a mental phrase. And this now, because you've gotten into the right position, the right understanding, the right frame of mind, the right will, the right understanding, all of a sudden you've uttered the frequencies. Now you've got access through the duat, and now you're going to mentally speak this phrase, which is going to give you the capability of freeing yourself. Mikut el Shab el Hale Shurben el Zabrut Zin Nefrim Karel. Okay? Just going to relax thy mind and thy body. Then be sure your soul will be called. Now give I the key to Shambhala. This is access to Shambhala. It's a quote unquote quasi heavenly-like state or heavenly-like place. The place where my brothers live in the darkness. Darkness, but filled with light from the sun. O darkness of earth, but light of the spirit guides for ye when my day is done. So he's talking about a place that is filled with light, but not light from a star. The light is from the love. The love itself has created a particular level of light. And so the place without them would be dark, but because they're there, there's light there. And he's talking always about the fact that he has the ability to incarnate there and stay there forever whenever he wants. Okay? Whenever he wants. But he hasn't gone there yet, and there's a reason why. He's still on his mission. Leave thou thy body as I have taught thee. Pass to the barriers of the deep, hidden place. Stand before the gates and their guardians. Command thy entrance in with these words. I am the light. In me is no darkness. Free am I of the bondage of night. Open thou the way to the 12 and 1, so I may pass to the realm of wisdom. When they refuse thee, as surely they will, command them to open by these words of power. I am the light. For me are no barriers. Open, I command, by the secret of secrets. Idom el ahim shaber zur adom. So he's giving you the fact that they're going to say, you may get some resistance, but now you have to come back with the higher level of knowledge. And you have to tell them, hold on, wait a second. I'm commanding that you allow me passage here. And by the way, by the secret of secrets, Idom Elahim Sabet Zur Adom, it gives me the frequency that you must obey. Then if thy words have been truth of the highest, open for thee, the barriers will fall. Now I leave thee, my children, down, yet up, to the hall shall I go. Win ye the way to me, my children. Truly my brothers shall become. This is pretty interesting because in John 14:2, it's something very similar said in the Bible. In my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. He's saying the same thing there. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, you may be also. And so he's saying the same thing. Now leave thee, my children, down yet up to the halls I go. Win ye the way to me, my children. Truly my brothers ye shall become. It's the same exact statement, except this was 38,000 years ago. The Bible was written last week. Thus finish I my writings. Keys, let them be to those who come after, but only to those who seek my wisdom. For only these am I the key and the way. Oh, wow. Jesus said to them, I am the way and the truth and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Same statement. Same exact statement being done there in the biblical text. All right. So, and what's interesting is though he calls himself the son of Atlantis, and he also calls himself a son of man. What does the Bible, Yeshua call himself in the Bible from time to time? The Son of Man. Pretty interesting. He calls himself the Son of Man. Thoth calls himself the Son of Man in the Emerald Tablets, but that was 38,000 prior to Yeshua's life. So that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting, right? So you see these incredible keys here. The most important part, and there are other words that we're going to utilize today, as this wheel in this particular clockwise fashion creates a frequency wheel that will give you access to higher dimensions. Okay, higher dimension. Now remember, you can replay this video over and over again, and you'll be able to see all these phrases and these words and practice them on your own. Okay, so we have the Dori Lila. Okay, this is a very interesting frequency. Dori Lila Il Ganuver. All right, and then we have the Mikut El Shab Al Hele Ben Jirat Zin Ephraim Karel. Then we have the Untanas, Quertus, Chaital, Goyana, Huertal, Sambeda, Ardal. That makes a complete cycle around this frequency wheel in a clockwise direction, which is going to open up access for us in our Macaba to get to the Duat, okay? To get to the Duat. Some people say Merkaba, some people say Macaba, okay? Same thing, all right? So what is a Macaba? A Macaba is an ancient vehicle of ascension. It's an ancient vehicle that you can travel in, spiritually and even physically. They existed. They're counter-rotating star tetrahedrons. So a tetrahedron on top, a tetrahedron on the bottom, and interconnect and sync, and they rotate counterclockwise. And you create it with your conscious thought. A Macaba, which is also can be spelled with an H at the end sometimes, comes from a Hebrew word meaning chariot or vehicle, and it can be also defined as a light spirit body, which is what Merkaba means, light spirit body. The Macaba symbol, the shape of two intersecting tetrahedrons that spin opposite directions counterclockwise from each other, creating a three-dimensional energy field. And you can activate this vehicle of light around your own body with practiced meditation and breathing techniques. The Macaba is said to provide protection and transport of your consciousness to higher dimensions. So we're not going to send the spirit out of the body today. We're going to send the mind today, okay? I think that's a lot safer and something that you can then go back and practice over and over again as you begin to get deeper and deeper into understanding how these meditations work, all right? Okay, consciously reprogram yourself, which is where we're going. Now we're going to talk a little bit about epigenetics and epigenomics. Epigenomics is no longer junk DNA. Epigenomics is the study of DNA, okay? Epigenetics is a study of the genetics that are passed down from generation to generation. This particular little clip of text here is taken out of a major peer-reviewed science website that anybody can get access to. Now, what's interesting is they're saying that junk DNA is no longer junk. They finally are admitting that what they've been calling junk DNA is not junk. This should be talked about on every news station all day long, instead of talking about the global sicknesses and so forth. This should be in every school book, everywhere, every university. Everyone should be talking about this. The fact that what we thought was junk this whole time, because that's the name they gave it, is not junk. And that we have access to it, that it has an influence on our regular genes. It says epigenetics refers to the functionality, relevant modifications of the genome that do not involve a change in the nucleotide sequence. Examples of such modifications are DNA, methylation, and histone modifications. Both modifications serve to regulate gene expression without altering the underlying DNA sequence. The epigenome code encodes critical information, and we're talking about the junk DNA now. The epigenome encodes critical information to regulate the gene expression. So it's critical. It's critical. The cellular epigenome is established during development and differentiation and maintained during cell division. We're talking about mitosis now. So during the process of mitosis, we're finding out now that the cellular epigenome is established during that process and maintained during the mitosis. Mitosis is when two cells split apart. These instructions are different in each cell type, therefore the epigenome is cell type specific. Nutrient availability and other environmental factors cause changes in the epigenome, and recent research suggests that the critical contribution of the epigenome to the development of complex gene environmental diseases, including chronic kidney disease and so forth and so on, it continues to go. But it's showing that these junk DNA, this epigenome, has an impact on our genes, and that it is active. They are active. They appear to be inactive. We appear to be not utilizing them, but they perform a critical role in our gene expressions. Gene expressions are very important. And what they say influence the epigenome is the environment. Environmental factors and nutrition are the two biggest influences on your epigenome and how it impacts positively or negatively your actual genes. So what they're saying here is not taking care of yourself, poor exercise and poor nutrition, along with environmental factors like toxicity in the air, breathing in smog all day, exhaust fumes, smoking cigarettes, you name it, whatever it is that creates a toxic environment, breathing in microplastics, burning garbage, whatever it is, Monsanto, bug spray. These situations create the wrong environment for the epigenome to target your genes and give you, turn on specific genes that will activate specific diseases in your body. Okay? So it's important to get this on the right level, because this also begins at the cellular level. So we're talking about the human cell. You can see that the cell itself it's just a giant universe. It's a fractal of the universe as a whole. And 70% of what's inside of this cell is actual water, H2O. 70% of what's inside of each human cell is H2O. And that's very important, because we know that water carries memory. We know that water vibrates to specific frequencies. We know that water responds to conscious thoughts, negative and positive, right? We know that for a fact through many experiments that have been done. We know that if you focus negative thought towards water, the water will lose its crystalline structure under an electron microscope. We know that if you speak angrily, dark, hatred words to water, it malforms its crystal formations under a microscope. If you speak positive, light, love to water, it makes perfect crystalline structures under a microscope. So what does that tell you? You have the closest cymatic frequency generator to your cells than anyone else, because the voice that you speak with is in your vocal box. You're speaking with your vocal box, right? And because of that, you are literally creating the environment for the epigenome and your gene expressions to take hold on your body. Some people haven't even realized why they've got these illnesses and these diseases until you hear something like this. If you have a habit of being around people that are speaking negatively all the time, it's not even coming out of your mouth, but they're within hearing distance. That means your body is listening now. This person is over there gossiping about Susie May and talking all kind of crap about Susie May this and Susie May that, and Susie May's are this and Susie May's are that, and her kids are a this and a that, and her man is a this and a that. And your cells are listening to all this because your cells are picking up the frequency and vibration along with the conscious intent coming out of the person speaking. Those go directly into vibration and resonance with the water inside of each individual cell in your body. And then what happens to that water? It stores that information like a hard drive stores data. Now, the only thing is it's storing it in your body, and you didn't even speak this stuff. But you know what? You're in the wrong place at the wrong time, because you're hanging around people that are spewing dark energy. And just by being in the vicinity of somebody spewing dark energy consistently over time will give you dis-ease, which will turn into disease, which will have you pushing up daisies. You get it? Not to mention you speaking those words, you thinking dark. You could be doing it in a way where you're not speaking, I don't attack anybody. I don't speak badly about anybody, but how about your self-talk? Because your body's listening to that too. Your body, your cells, and the water in your cells are picking up on the frequency from your conscious thoughts about your own self. It's reacting to your conscious thoughts, light waves that are affecting each individual cell in the body, as well as anything you do speak. Oh, I suck. Damn it, I can't believe I didn't get that right. Oh my goodness, I'm horrible. Ah, this is crazy. I can't believe I did that. I'm so dumb. That is programmed into your cells. The water vibrates on that frequency, stores that information, and now the cell becomes malformed. The cell can't function properly. Now the cell turns into a tumor, and then the tumor begins to go through mitosis and replicate in the body. And now you've got tumors. And now your body starts the death process. You have to surround yourself with people on positive vibes. You have to stop talking negatively about yourself and others. You have to catch yourself speaking negatively about yourself to your cells, because they are listening 24/7, whether you speak verbally on cymatics through your vocal box or through conscious thought. You got to catch yourself. Dr. Masaru Emoto was one of the top researchers and doctors that studied the effect of thoughts and sound on water. Look up Dr. Masaru Emoto. He passed away, unfortunately, years ago. I got to work with his understudy for one afternoon for about maybe 4 hours in California, in Los Angeles, at the Conscious Life Expo. And we worked and talked about different frequencies dealing with harmonics in 440, 432, 528, and so forth. It was a great day. But these studies have been replicated all around the world, even in schools and some universities. So we're talking about the fact that we're walking around with 70% water that's H2O, regular old-fashioned H2O. And it's going to do the same thing that it will do outside of your body that it's going to do in your body. And so when you provide the wrong environmental situations, then all of a sudden those cells begin to act crazy and initiate a phone call to the epigenome. And the epigenome says, hey, what's going on out there? The epigenome says, oh man, that's no good. I'm gonna go ahead and send this message to the genes. Next thing you know, the epigenetics is getting a phone call from the epigenome. And now the epigenetics is saying, I'm gonna go ahead and activate these. I'm gonna go ahead and activate diabetes. I'm gonna go ahead and activate cancer. I'm gonna go ahead and activate Parkinson's and dementia. This is the cycle that goes on. This is the cycle. You see? But people never see it that way, so that's why I'm expressing it to you this way, so you can really catch on to what's really happening with these mystery illnesses and these mystery sicknesses and so forth. Yeah, some of it is stuff that, we've eaten and we've hung out too long and didn't take care of ourselves, but some people are getting sick or compounding what they may have already naturally had with dark energy, with negativity and low frequency vibrations and bad cymatics. That's what's killing a lot of people. It's never talked about. Oh, cigarettes kill X amount. COVID killed X amount. Such and such killed, cancer killed X amount. Diabetes killed. How come nobody's talking about frequencies, low frequencies with dark energy? How many have they killed? billions. Billions. Okay? So we have to change the narrative on how we talk, how we interact with people that we're talking with or that are talking around us, and how we have our self-talk, even when nobody's around and nobody's listening. Our self-talk is very, very important. Understand the basics. Cymatics refers to the study of how sound frequencies create patterns in physical substances like sand or what? Or water. This is a known scientific fact. I could take a cladium plate and I can put some sand on top of it, and I can turn a speaker on underneath it, and I'm gonna see geometric shapes form instantaneously. I can put that same cladium plate inside of a fluid like water and turn it on. I played a video earlier, you saw those patterns. That's what's happening to your cells, the water in the cells in your body. And based on those frequencies, it's gonna make a phone call. And when it makes a phone call, it better be a good call. Like, oh wow, let me, epigenome, let me call genetics and tell genetics to deactivate cancer in the future. Let me tell it to deactivate rapid telomere reduction. Let me tell it to deactivate dementia. That's the kind of phone calls we want the body making to each other. We don't want the body making other phone calls. Affirmations are positive, specific statements that help you overcome negative thoughts. So you must get into the power and the positivity of affirmations every single day. The first thing you do when you wake up and you come out of your slumber, the first thing you do before you grab your phone, before you kiss your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever you got, before you do any of that, before you use the bathroom, before you do anything, the first thing you do is ramble off 5 things you're grateful for right away. Positive. Start your morning positive immediately before you do anything. If you grab the phone, you just put in negativity, because the first thing you open is going to be somebody getting beat by the cops. If you roll over and kiss a spouse or something like that, next thing you know, you're cuddling and you're spooning again, and you might forget what you was getting ready to do. There's time for all this stuff. Just get it out of the way initially. Set your intention for the day when you wake up. That's the most important part of the day. When you first wake up and regain full motor capability, set your intention for the day. Then kiss your spouse, hug your kids, take your dog out, whatever you got to do, take a shower. But start your day with a positive intention. The first thing you do when you wake up, don't delay it, and don't grab the phone. Do not grab the phone. You're gonna pour right into yourself negativity. You can't control what happens when you open this device. There can be an Apple article or a Google article. There could be a bomb that just went off in some country, or babies' heads are getting cut off. I mean, it's crazy. The first thing you see in the morning should not be this. It should be 5 positive affirmations and a full glass of fresh water. That's the first 2 things you need to do to your body. Put fresh water in your body and give yourself 5 positive affirmations. That's how you start the day. Okay? And then, of course, thought in this context is focused intention or meditative concentration. Choose the right environment. Find a quiet, peaceful space, and ensure you won't be disturbed during your session. Take a quick meditation break. What I like to do is I like to go and meditate while I'm in the shower. So you go in the shower and you do a meditation while you're actually in the shower, and you can focus on releasing all the negative thoughts and sending them down the drain, and bringing in gratitude and energy and positivity and happiness and powerful thoughts and affirmations. And you can do a 10-15 minute meditation while you're actually in the shower or any other place that you want to do it. Okay? But that's how you start your day, and that's how you get your cells on the right vibration from the beginning of the day. Don't try to wait to do this later on. By then, the cells are vibrating non-harmoniously. The frequencies are counteracting and clashing. It sounds like a bad orchestra inside your body. And that's going to give you all kind of disease. Don't forget, dis-ease gives you disease, which has you pushing up daisies. I say it all the time. Then you got cymatic influence. Play specific sound frequencies that resonate with positivity and healing. The idea is that the vibrations will tune your cells. We're talking about playing inspirational audiobooks, playing meditation music, playing authors that are reading books that have great positivity or information in them, or listening to my song, Affirmations by Forbidden Knowledge, right? That's on all music platforms, whatever. Bring a specific high vibration, high frequency music or sound or voice into your life in those early hours as well. Consider using a device that can visualize these frequencies on a medium like cymatic plates. So if you can visualize, like I told you earlier, like a Atlantean plate and what it looks like when these frequencies are playing, you can see creation is happening through frequencies. So when you're listening to these high vibration things, like an author reading a positive book on an audio book, or you're listening to some of the music I have, my meditation tracks, or anybody else's meditation tracks, my affirmation song, or whatever you're listening to, you can begin to imagine that positive vibration going through your body and exciting your cells in that way. Like Dr. B says, your cells begin to celebrate. Okay? And of course, affirmations. Craft or select affirmations tailored toward your goals, whether they are for healing, confidence, positivity, or whatever, and speak these affirmations aloud with conviction and repeat them multiple times. Write affirmations tailored towards your own self. So the song I wrote, Affirmations, I tried to encompass every aspect of what a person might need an affirmation for in that song, which is probably why it's so popular. But again, you should also practice on writing some of your own affirmations specifically targeted around exactly what you are wanting to be and manifest in your life. Okay? Very important. And we're going to read some affirmations today. Combine all elements. As the cymatic sounds play, repeat your affirmations and focus your thoughts simultaneously. By doing this, you're attempting to create a holistic environment where your body, mind, and emotions are working in complete harmony. So you're putting these three things together, all right? The audible frequency, you're speaking vocally and verbally about affirmations, all right? And all this is coming together and it's creating this environment that's harmonious, and your cells are gonna pick up on that. They're gonna begin to resonate like that. It's gonna get you off to a great start. And a lot of the times, even if things negative come your way, it won't be negative enough to overcome the excitement and the exhilaration that your cells are vibrating at because you started the day off properly. Consistency and repetition. Just as with any form of learning or habit forming thing, you have to be very repetitive, and you have to consider doing the process over and over again so that it becomes a new habit. Making new habits is not easy sometimes. Even for me, making new habits is not easy, but you can do it if you're dedicated to it. If there's change that you really want in your life, you will begin to create these new habits. And then integrate other positive reinforcements like eating a balanced diet, right? Eating a balanced diet. Finding a diet that's right for you would even be better than that. And so these are things that you want to do because you want to be able to support healthy. Through health, you want to be able to support the cell's vibration. The cells vibrating uses energy from the mitochondria. If you're not eating a balanced diet and getting good exercise, your mitochondria, which are the batteries of the cell, are gonna run out. And when the batteries of the cells run out, the cells die. And when too many cells die, it can cause tumors to form and all kind of other major illnesses that you just don't want to have. So it's better to just eat right and exercise. Okay? Everyone here has probably ate anything that they probably ever wanted, and we ate for fun. Now it's time to eat to live, because we have missions to complete on this planet, as we talked about earlier in my workshop today, where we are here for a reason, a purpose. Our purpose is to alchemically convert darkness to light by any means necessary. That's the mission. That's the goal here. And you can't do that if you're sick. All right, we're going to say these out loud. I want everyone to repeat after me. And this is going to take some time to go through, but it's very, 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 very important. A lot of these affirmations that you're going to read today, you've probably never said. Some of them you may have. Some of them may or may not even apply to you directly today at this exact moment. And some might apply to you at this moment. Okay? Let me just get to the bottom here where I can scroll easy. There we go. I am deserving of love and respect. That's a powerful one, by the way. I don't want to keep stopping all the time, but that's why I put that one number one. A lot of people don't believe that they're deserving of love and respect. They really don't even believe that. But you are. You're deserving. I don't care what you did in the past. I don't care what's happened to you. I don't care what situation you're in or now or even came out of. It doesn't mean anything. You are still deserving of love and respect. Every day I grow stronger and more resilient. I trust in the journey and its lessons. My past does not define my future. I do. I am capable of achieving my dreams. I am enough. The universe supports and guides me. I embrace changes as a pathway to growth. My potential is limitless. I am surrounded by abundance. I am worthy of all good things that come my way. I believe in myself and my abilities. Challenges are opportunities for growth. I am in charge of my happiness and peace. Every day, I am becoming the best version of myself. I am loved and cherished. I radiate positivity and attract positive energies. I deserve success and prosperity. My confidence knows no bounds. I am grateful for every moment and every experience. I spread love and receive love in return. I am a beacon of hope and inspiration. My thoughts shape my reality. I am in harmony with the universe. Joy fills my heart and soul. I attract opportunities for growth and success. I am a magnet for blessings and abundance. My mind is clear and my path is set. I overcome challenges with grace and ease. Every cell in my body vibrates with energy and health. I am in control of my actions and emotions. My spirit is unbreakable. I am deserving of all beauty life offers. I am constantly evolving and improving. Peace and contentment are my natural states. I am free from negative thoughts and self-doubt. The universe always works in my favor. I spread joy wherever I go. I trust my intuition and inner wisdom. Love and kindness guide all my actions. I have a unique purpose and I embrace it. Every day is a fresh start. I am surrounded by love and positivity. My heart is open to endless possibilities. I am powerful, creator of my reality. I attract success in all my endeavors. I am grounded, focused, and persistent. Happiness is my birthright. I let go of what no longer serves me. I am a beacon of love and compassion. My dreams are valid and achievable. I am worthy of every compliment and accolade. I choose to be optimistic. My actions inspire and motivate others. Every challenge makes me stronger. I am surrounded by opportunities for growth. Gratitude fills every corner of my heart. I am in sync with my highest self. I believe in the power of positivity. My spirit is limitless. I am fearless in pursuit of my passions. Love and joy flow through me effortlessly. I am a force of positivity and growth. My soul is at peace. Every day I am filled with renewed energy. I am a master of my destiny. The universe is filled with endless opportunities for me. I am worthy of love, success, and happiness. I radiate confidence and grace. My life is filled with abundance. Every experience enriches my soul. I am open to receiving all of life's blessings. I believe in the goodness of people. My heart is expansive and open. I live in the present and embrace each moment. My thoughts are positive and uplifting. I am a magnet for miracles. I trust in the timing of the universe. My voice matters and I am heard. I am guided by love and wisdom. My spirit shines bright. I am a beacon of hope and light. Every obstacle is a stepping stone to my success. I am worthy of all the universe has to offer. I am in alignment with my true self. My actions create ripples of positivity. I am deserving of every dream I chase. I am empowered, strong, and brave. The universe always has my back. I spread kindness and receive it in return. Every day is a blessing and an opportunity. I am a creator of positive change. My soul is nurtured and fulfilled. I am a vessel of love and light. I am deserving of joy and prosperity. The world benefits from my presence. I am connected to everything and everyone. I am a powerhouse of positivity. I am in control of my destiny. Every experience shapes me for the better. My love and light impact the world. I am boundless in my potential. I embrace every opportunity with open arms. I am a reflection of the universe's beauty. I am a force of nature. My journey is unique and inspiring. I am a catalyst for positive change. I am worthy of every blessing. I am a magnet for love and positivity. I am unstoppable in my pursuits. I am at peace with my past, present, and future. For most people, that's the most affirmations that they've ever said in one consistent sitting ever in their life. If you notice the power and force I put behind every affirmation, commanding it into existence, not for you only, but even for myself, because guess what? My cells are listening to me and they believe this. They believe what I'm saying, and so do I. Okay? Reciting these affirmations regularly will help instill a sense of positivity and boost self-confidence. I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning writing all these affirmations, and I was like, I just put 20, 25. No, let me go to 111, 111 affirmations, all different. Okay. Now you can take this and you can literally pick and choose the ones that resonate with you the most. Okay. And now we're going to get into the Supermind learning, reading 2 different books at the same time. So let me tell you a little bit about this. Okay. So how did I come up with this? When I was younger, I had a cassette deck about this big, and it had a flip up opening for the cassette to slide in, and it had, play, fast forward, rewind, stop, and record with the buttons on this cassette deck. And so back then I came up with the idea. I said, you know what? I think this was like 1985. I said, I wonder if I record myself doing some math problems, and then I put this cassette deck and played it while I went to sleep, would I know the information better in the morning? So I did it. Just another thought experiment. Guess what? It worked again. I said, this works. This is crazy. It worked. So I started experimenting more and more with, recording my voice and then playing it back to myself while I laid down to go to sleep. And I noticed that I was retaining some of the information, not all of it, but some of it. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Even some of the information that I didn't think I remembered would pop up during a time when I needed to add it. I was speaking to someone I wanted to add to a conversation. I automatically, boom, I just had the knowledge. So I started thinking back then, how can I invent this where I can make pillows that have little recorders in them and speakers so that babies can learn how to speak sooner, so that babies can learn how to talk faster, so that people with speech impediments can learn how to speak better, and all this stuff, And so I started putting it in my pillow, and I was showing my mom and a few other people, and they thought it was kind of cute. But trust me, if I had about $100,000 in funding, I was only a kid in junior high school, but if I had some money at that time, significant amount, I would have made that an invention that would have paid off. But we can still do that today, okay? We can still do that today. And so what I noticed though, okay, so then I did that experiment. Wow, I can learn while I'm sleeping. So then I said, let me record some songs, because we didn't have a way, DVDs didn't even exist yet. All we had were cassette tapes, and I only had a cassette player, not a cassette stereo. So I would go put my cassette recorder next to the analog radio, my mom's analog radio, around 3 o'clock p.m. every day when the local radio station would start playing songs that I liked. Then I would record them. They used to record in mono, not stereo, but whatever. You're a kid, it's the 80s. We don't know no better. We just want to hear some music. So I record off the radio, commercials and all. And then I take that recording and I would listen to those songs while I'm doing my homework, because my mom would like to change the radio to her stations and stuff. So I take it, and she's listening to Neil Diamond, and I don't want to hear no Neil Diamond. So I go and I'm doing my homework, and while I'm doing my homework, I'm listening to these songs I recorded, and I'm rapping these songs. So it's the beginning, of very, very beginning stages of rap. I'm singing some of the songs, also some R&B songs. While I'm doing my homework, I know all the words, and I'm spitting them out left and right, and I'm still doing my homework efficiently. So I'm like, wow, this is incredible. I'm doing the homework with no problem. I'm able to sing and rap these songs, and I'm able to comprehend both things at the same time. That was pretty cool. And then I was like, man, this is pretty great. I wonder if I can read 2 books this way at a time. But I was like, then I would have to read a whole book to the cassette deck and then read. I said, oh, forget it. So I stopped. So, I utilized the technique over the years for other stuff, but never for reading. Much later, fast forward to the future, here we are, right? 21st century. We have Audible now on our phones. We have these audio read books, Audible read books. And I was like, oh, wow. I wonder if I can still do that thing where I listen and work and do work on something else. So I turned on an Audible. I started listening to it, and I picked up another book and I started reading it. At first, it was pretty intense. I was like getting confused. I was mixing the storylines together at first a little bit, but I did realize I had some retention. I had some good comprehension in some areas, not all. And I was like, wow, I wonder if I keep doing this, would this get better and better? And guess what? I was right again. I don't understand this. I don't even understand why I do these things. Like sometimes I ask myself, why did I even think about doing this kind of stuff? But I did. It is what it is. So I started experimenting with reading 2 books at a time. And I started increasing my retention little by little. My mind started making the connections. See, at first it seems very confusing and it seems convoluted. But if you keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, your brain goes, oh man, I got to catch up. So the brain tells its neurons to branch out and make better connections. And then what happens is your mind begins to grow, your brain begins to redevelop itself and rewrite itself and reconnect itself in a way that allows you to process this information. And what reinforced it for me was I found out at around the same time I was doing this, I was researching some stuff as I always am, that when a person becomes blind, their hearing is increased. Or when the person becomes deaf, their eyesight is increased significantly. Or if they become blind, their smell and their hearing is increased. The brain begins to rewire itself to compensate. And I was like, oh my goodness, if I keep doing this, I'm going to get better and better and better and better because my mind's going to have to compensate for this. So I pushed myself hard, really hard. And the next thing you know, I was breezing through content and information like you wouldn't believe. I'm talking about a high pace. I've gone through well over 1,000 books in the last decades. So some of these books are massive books. I'm not talking about a book like this that I can just read in a day. The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, that's a one-day read for me. It's a few hours, right? I'm talking about massive books, and some of them with really rich content too. But it took me time to build up to that process. It took me time. So today we're going to experiment a little bit, all right, with some supermind learning techniques. Okay, let me go back here. Let me pull up this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video. And this video is going to be a supermind reading sample. You're going to hear my voice, but you're going to see a video with words on the screen. I want you to listen to my voice as I'm reading my book, but also I want you to read what's on the screen. Okay, at first when it starts, there won't be any sound, and it's going to give you a chance to digest what those words are. I have them in short spaces and short lines, so you can just download them right into your brain. And then it's going to go boop, 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 and it's going to start. And you're going to read those lines as they're highlighted while you're listening to my voice. I'm going to do this with you. We're going to do it 5 times. And I want you to realize and recognize your comprehension capability by the time we get to the 5th cycle, okay? All right, start reading these words. Get them in your mind, okay? Short lines, short phrases, easy to see. All right, here we go. Space travel, ancient civilizations, advanced construction techniques. I mean, you name it, it's all in these ancient tablets. And so what is the compendium of the Emerald Tablets? Well, I took the Emerald Tablets and the Emerald Tablet singular, because there's 2 different tablets. There's actually way more than that, but I focused on these 2. So the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and the Emerald Tablet of Hermes, both of them are in this one book. And I broke down the tablets, the meaning, and the information, the science, the technology that's encoded into the verses, so that everyone can understand exactly what was being said over 36,000 years ago, all right? So it's a pretty interesting thing, all right? Pretty interesting. Ringo James, here you go, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we're gonna go into this topic tonight. We're gonna talk about the UFOs in the Emerald Tablets, which is gonna be pretty interesting, because what it's gonna do, it's going to show you that in ancient times, they are referencing advanced aerospace technology that we have now today, proving that we didn't create or invent anything. We only rediscovered what already existed, all right? What already existed. Local focal cells, shout out to local focal cells. So, you know, I mean, there is no original idea. Literally, everything already exists. And everything is existing in the ether of space-time. In other words, every thought that we think, it goes out of your skull. We know this in basic science, classical physics. If you go to a doctor and they cut, you know, a brain surgeon, and they put an EEG on your scalp and connect it to a computer, they can read your brain waves. Why? Because your brain waves leave the computer, leave your skull and go to the computer. They go through the wires and go into the computer. The brain waves leave your skull. The brain waves, your thoughts don't stay inside of your skull, they leave. They leave as what? As waves of light. So at all times, your mind is always generating light waves, but light waves that are encoded with information, digital bits of information encoded on the waves of light. That's how it works. So you are literally sending out information into the universe at all times. Now, AJ asked me if there's anybody living on the moon right now. Personally, I believe that there are, but that's another podcast. I'll get into a podcast about that. Maybe I'll talk about that in a couple of weeks when I get back in town. And I'll bring some evidence and some receipts for that as to why I have that hypothesis. And so I'll bring something to back up my hypothesis, and we'll talk about that in a few weeks. So it's a great topic. Thank you for bringing that up. But so your mind is always generating waves of light, just like this cell phone, right? I have a cell phone here. This cell phone and your cell phone is connected to a tower. That's why they call it a cell phone, because cellular towers, these towers transmit a frequency called a microwave. What is a microwave? It's a wave of light, okay? You can't see the microwave, and thankfully we can't see microwaves. We can't see ultraviolet, infrared, you know, we can't see gamma waves. We can't see, if we could see all the different variations of waves of light that exist, we would be completely distracted. We can only see just less than 1% of the light waves that actually exist. Truthfully, we mostly only get RGB. That's it, right? Red, blue, and green, and combinations of those red, blue, and greens. But there's so much more out there. You know, you have X-rays, you have gamma rays, you got infrared, you have ultraviolet. I mean, there's so much. And so it's pretty interesting. But these waves go out encoded with information. So this cell phone is connected to a tower that has microwaves, right? The data in the phone transmits out. It rides that beam of light, that microwave, it's a light wave. It rides it to the tower. It's piggybacking it to the tower. From that tower, it gets sent to other towers around, up into a satellite, depending on how far you are away, it drops it back down to a tower in your local region. And then the information that's encoded, the digital bits of information that's encoded into it, ride the wave down to the other person's device, and the device lights up, and then the processor inside the phone decodes the encoded piggyback message on the light wave. So we use light waves to send information because we found a way to piggyback the information on the wave of light and let it ride with it out. See, that's how things work. Now, look at the universe as a whole. Your mind is doing that every single thought that you think. You're sending information into space-time 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every idea, every thought. So this is why I believe in the book of life. Let me see in the chat if anybody felt any progress through those cycles of doing that. Did it at some point you see how much easier it got? At first it made it seem a little convoluted, a little crazy, but then by the third time it just got easier and easier. And of course it's just simple text, you know, but at the same time, if you can see there was improvement there, that's the most important thing to see. That if you replicate this on a different scale, where you get some audio books and you get some physical books and you gradually push yourself. And now here's the key, here's the big trick. With the audio books, you can slow down the actual audio. or you can speed the audio up. Okay? So right now I speed my audio up. When I listen to it, I don't listen to it at normal speed because that just takes too long. But you can start at a slightly under normal speed, so the audio is slightly slower. Audible gives you the ability, and so does YouTube videos. They give you the ability to slow down the audio or speed up the audio. I don't know if you knew that or not. So now you give yourself a chance to digest the information at a slightly slower rate. You don't want to make it too slow because then it becomes distorted, and then your brain's trying to figure out what the heck it's saying, right? What the heck the person's saying. So you don't want to make it too slow, but you can take it down just a slight notch, and then you can read utilizing the scanning or skimming method in a physical book, and then go back and duplicate it over and over and over and over again. And I guarantee you in 90 days, you will be a person that will be able to gobble up so much information and have so much information in your head, people won't recognize you anymore. You know, people tell me all the time, like, how do you have all this information in your head? Well, you're kind of getting my secrets now. I've given you guys my secrets. You're learning some of my secrets. Not all of them, but I'm giving you one of the most important secrets I have. There's another level even above this that I can't tell anybody about. But this is the one I can tell you about, and this one works phenomenal. And as you become a master at this, I think you can easily see how you can probably even go through 10 books in a month. And now 10 books in a month times 12 months in a year, all of a sudden you've done 120 books in a year. Some people don't read 10 books in a lifetime, yet alone 120 in 1 year. Think about the amount of information you can take in. Think about the level of knowledge you can ascend to. It's just mind-blowing. With this one technique that you can begin to develop and build. And then your mind now is making new connections, new neural connections that are going to help you process information faster in other areas of your life. There's going to be a positive side effect to this exercise with your brain. Plus, you're exercising your brain in a way that hardly anybody's doing, and in my opinion, can possibly lead to less risk of dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and those types of mental illnesses that kind of befall us as we get older. Because you're exercising, your mind is going to stay sharp as a tack. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So just try it, keep working on it, and keep building on that. I think you'll have a lot of success with it.